Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you so very much. We couldn't do it without you. Also, big thank you to Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice. And that was him that you just heard on our intro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite streaming platforms. So thank you, Justin Snicker. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the Outer Realm. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. He also specializes in horror-themed artwork, and of course can do just about anything, but he's got great things on hand in a pinch, and he can do just about anything as a commission piece. So again, check him out. So it is that time of year again, and the Outer Realm has been nominated for a third year in a row, yes, for the People's Choice Podcast Awards in the category of Best Female Hosts. So we thank whoever it is out there that put out those nominations. Thank you. We appreciate it. And hey, much as we'd love to win, we're just so honored to be basically nominated. So thank you again. So guys, tonight we welcome back a very dear friend of ours and one of our personal favorites. And she's got a lot of interesting things to say. And of course, you guys all know and love her, Dolly Safran. And she's got a list of things that we're going to talk about this evening. And she's just always a delight. And she's always got, again, a lot of really interesting things to say. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on, and there we go. Hello. I'm just watching the chat bar light up. It's like, Jesus, this is great. So anyway, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well. Went out to California for a few days and got to go to a wedding and got to go to Topanga Canyon. And then I went to Santa Monica and got to see the beaches and stuff like that, and all kinds of things. It was very, very relaxing. Needed it bad.
So how did you muster up getting some time off?
I don't know. It was a miracle of miracles. I'm not kidding.
Oh, wow.
It just doesn't never happen to me. Never.
How nice is that, right?
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of people tuning in. So thank you. I just don't quite know why all this funky stuff is happening on we go in and just change that a little bit because it will make me crazy. There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm a bit habitual. All this flashy stuff start coming across. I'm just like, anyway. I know. Well, I'm glad you guys got away. I think that's fantastic. And hopefully you guys are going to have a bit of a laid back summer and not overdoing it too much.
Hopefully, yes.
I know. I
It's,
know.
it's crazy out there everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere, indeed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's already starting. It looks like people have their ideas. I mean, we have a lot that we want to talk about tonight, but I'm happy to start wherever you want. And
Okay.
Neural Channel says, talk about the Earth, Dolly.
Oh,
Okay, Dolly,
I
take
got a
it
good one
away.
for
Talk
you.
about the Earth.
We have something oncoming right now. We had a coronal mass ejection yesterday. It's not a huge one, but it's going to be interesting to see if it comes in with a coronal hole. In other words, if the power of it hits first and then the coronal hole comes in behind it, it'll be a 1-2 punch, and that can cause things to happen. If they come in together, they might negate each other a little bit, and it's not really negate, but it softens the blows, so to speak. So we
Right.
should see something happening on Earth. You should see maybe some storms, bad ones, lightning, maybe an earthquake or two, things like that, because we are in
Right.
circuit with the sun and it does affect us. So,
Okay, I'd like to add to that a little bit because there's a lot. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time, on social media by any means. I just don't have the time. I wish I did. I like to connect with people here and there, but there's a really big deal right now being made about the Schumann resonance and the check and the
yeah,
Earth's frequencies, and there's a lot of battles going on with
okay.
this. So, what are your thoughts on that? Because everybody's saying, no, something's coming up, and it's like, okay,
All right. Well, this is a good way to start this one through.
okay,
I'm going to talk about frequency, and I'm going to talk
right,
about our frequencies as well, not only just the Earth, but us.
okay, yeah,
And I want to talk about what it means and the actual description of what it really is. If you have a giant bell or a ball that's hollow and it's metal and you strike it, it's going to glong, it's going to make noises.
right,
The energy that comes from our sun and other energy sources in our solar system, as well as our galaxy and the universe, hit us like a gong on a bell. Energy is impactful, it's gravitational, it has a punch, it's hard, and it hits us with fierce force. Our Earth, the Schumann resonance, is exactly what's happening to us right now. It is ringing like a bell because we have all kinds of energy that we don't usually have because our magnetosphere is down almost 40% at this point, and we're ringing like a bell, and it's getting
wow,
louder
that's
and louder.
crazy, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I want
that's
to talk about
crazy,
frequency because of this.
okay,
Frequency is this. If you have a radio dial, it's the easy way for me to explain it. You have AM and FM, and you have a tuning band for the entire spectrum of that radio band frequency. And you turn in the dial and you hit different places on the frequency band.
mm,
That means from 0 to 1,000 or 2,000, somewhere along that band, you're going to hit a frequency that's transmitting to that band, and you
hmm,
hear it. It's a frequency. Frequency is a description of a sound that we can perceive, understand, and hear. Some
right,
frequencies are very low and some are very high, but it
right,
is the sound that is in description. The cause of that sound, you have to ferret out what's causing that sound. Okay, let's
hmm,
talk about human frequency.
right,
We have
right, right,
brains,
right,
and
right,
we think in alpha, beta, theta, gamma, and delta wave frequency. Everybody does. Any live sentient being, like from a fish to a gnat, all of us, blades of grass, all of us have a signature frequency that is our own, our particular thumbprint of mind. And we broadcast in it. That's how come when you're psychic, you can hear other people thinking. Like a mother knows the sound, the frequency of her own baby's cry, we know each other's frequency as well. And when you're
that's
wide
right,
open psychic,
that's
you
right,
can hear and you know who's talking to you. You know,
right,
you can make the call to someone if you know them because you
hmm,
can tune into that frequency, what they're transmitting in.
hmm,
People talk about raising their frequency. What you're talking about is only upping the level of sound you're producing somewhere else. It
right,
is not your intelligence. It is not your wisdom. It is not
right,
your soul getting better. You're just getting louder and louder and louder. If you
Right.
want to raise your frequency, that's cool. You're learning to use your psychic abilities and you're broadcasting in a much more stable line of transmission, and people will hear you. So will ET. ET finds us by our frequency. It's like, I know your name, you know my name, you know what frequency I'm on, and I can call you, look you up, I can find you anywhere by that frequency. We know
Right.
how to do that here, physically do it, because we can triangulate. If somebody's broadcasting somewhere and they have a frequency band open, they can triangulate from different points and find out, they can zero in on where you're transmitting from. Say it is not only a physical ability, it is a psychic ability. They're one in the same.
Right.
Our governments have actually developed the ability to hear us think now and to transmit to our minds. They have learned the mechanics of psychic ability and frequency of mind. This is a big one. This is from back engineer technology from ET, because all of ET's AIs have frequency bands themselves, and they can transmit. They're not alive and sentient like we are, but they most certainly can transmit that way because they are AI. We have AI here too that can do that as well. So
Right.
that's what that's all about.
It's definitely getting there. It's getting a bit scary out there.
Right.
With the Schumann resonance, a lot of people are saying, well, I mean, again, I'm sort of having a good time watching it all, because you have those people who are just, oh, don't be ridiculous, the logical people, and you have those who are really, I won't say illogical. I think there maybe they just don't have a total understanding of how it works, but they're associating with it as it spikes. They're
Right.
associating it with like maybe disaster coming or a big
Right.
energy shift.
They kind of misconstrue the process of noting the disaster. The disaster is not coming from the earth ringing. That does not cause the earthquakes at all.
Right.
It is what's impacting us that does. When the sun
Right.
sends us a CME, it's a lightning bolt of energy. It's a coronal mass ejection. This is very, very high density electromagnetic gamma radiation coming at us full force. The
Right.
coronal hole stream shoots it even harder. It's like I have a bow and arrow, but if I use a crossbow, I get better tension on it, and I hit you harder.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
it's not funny, and when
Right.
it impacts our planet immediately takes a blow. If you're going to shoot an arrow at an apple, what happens to the apple? It
Right.
fractures and goes into many pieces.
Yeah.
Our Earth
Right.
is being stunned this way, and that's what causes the ring of fire, and it's getting worse. It's heating us up from within inside, because all of that energy incoming past our magnetosphere is making that happen. It's causing our tectonic plates to grate. Our entire outside of our planet is breaking loose, and we're starting to spin a little bit faster. That's absolutely true. Our days are less than a day now. And
Right.
so that's the disaster that's coming. Every time the sun CMEs on us with our magnetosphere down, during solar maximum, especially because we have this CME was only in the M class range. If you have one up in the X class range to like the 4th, all the way up to the 12th power, it can devastate us. It can send us what was 1859. That was a big deal. That was a coronal mass ejection that made it past everything, because our magnetosphere was
Right.
just starting to go down. And the electricity that we had in the telegraphs and the telegraph wires instantly caught fire and burned down and melted. That's not funny. And it can happen to us now. It's a big deal. And that's the disaster that they're all worried about. That's what they're feeling. Our sun is in solar maximum. It is very bad. We are right at the right timing for this to happen again. We have a 60,000 year and a 12,000 year upheaval here because of our sun, and they're happening simultaneously together. And that's why all the scientists who know this are talking, loudly talking. Pay attention. There's no such thing as global warming. We are not affecting the planet that way. Our sun is affecting us that way. And we are crescendoing into a big deal. That's what we're worried about. And our planet, the Schumann resonance, is just the sound of those impacts hitting us. Our whole Earth is reverberating. Think how the apple reverberates when the arrow goes through it.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
That's the process.
So what are your thoughts then on all this talk with these scientists wanting to black out the sun? I know. This is a thing, though. I have to say it.
This
This
is
is a.
not true. They can't do it. It's not going to
I,
happen.
I started reading that actually just yesterday. I saw something come up in one of the science things I
Their theory
subscribe
is
to,
this.
and I'm like, "What do you mean block out the
They're going to use
sun?"
the theory is this. We have lunar eclipses, okay, and solar eclipses where the moon passes in front of the sun and a certain area gets blotted out.
Right.
The moon's a gigantic object in our sky, okay? Think of how big we are in comparison to our sun. We don't have
Sure.
the ability to make that big of a shadow. And the
Right.
shadow that the moon makes is nominal compared to the footage on this planet, the mileage
Yes.
driven. It's just a swath. It doesn't protect the whole planet. It's just a little teeny swath, and
Hey,
it only
I
has
had to put it
6 minutes.
out there
Yeah,
because when I read that, because
yeah.
apparently Mr. Gates is behind that and trying to put a lot of money into that.
Yeah, I know, because they want you to, I don't know.
I know.
Honestly and truly, my belief is this. I think that they're trying to protect themselves, and it's going to take a lot of money to do it. And they'll sell you anything. They will sell you any con they can come up with to give you
Right.
take their cash. Okay, your
Right.
cash. So
Right.
that's where I'm at with that. It is not true. It is science fiction. It cannot happen. No, cannot.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So neural channels. So if we get a large EMP sweep, we get ready for off the
Yeah,
grid.
I know. And I want to bring one more thing up because I can hear people's minds. And here's the retort to that.
Okay. Yeah. Go
They're
ahead. I'm just
spraying
putting up comments while you're
They're
talking.
spraying the atmosphere and they're trying to build a great big cloud around the planet.
Yes.
That everything the sun can shoot at us penetrates anything. Gamma radiation cannot be stopped. It goes 10
Right.
miles straight down into the earth. No cloud cover, no dirt cover. Even a nuclear dirt cover is not going to protect you from what the sun is about to do. So
Right.
there you go.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And
All right.
Dave said Simpsons did it first. I believe it.
Right.
I do. I
Right.
do. I'm sorry, man, but they've got a pretty good track record. Oh my gosh. And Chris, hey, Chris, speaking of blocking out the sun, do not use sunscreen. The sun is not your enemy. Some sunscreens can actually burst into flames. Really?
Yeah, they got metal
I
in
did
them.
not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know
they have
that.
metals in them. And yeah, they can
Ah.
burn. Yeah.
Neurochannels, the sun is the largest plasma. We humans haven't figured out how to harvest that huge hydrogen source. We are limited to Earth energies and just around our space neighborhood. Thank you, upper beings. There we go. Thank you, Nikola Tesla, even though that only certain
Yeah.
people are probably enjoying that technology. Did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay.
I know. I know. I have to behave myself. So, okay. So we talked about frequency. We've talked about, the Earth, the planet. You want to hit on things that the powers that be have been pretty much suppressing in us for a really long time.
Right.
And one of the big ones is the pineal gland.
Pineal
So they're
gland.
doing it, and for those who aren't aware, because some of us have been studying this for a really long time. So why would they do that, and how are they doing that? And maybe we can discuss what it actually does for us.
Okay. Well, there's been a process involved with this, and it's taken many, many years to get to the point where we are now. Nothing happens overnight. The first process is diversity of language. Many languages confuse us. And when we can't communicate psychically and we're communicating verbally, our pineal glands are not operating at their level of understanding or able to come out. Then there is fear. Fear messes up your abilities. It doesn't care who you are. You're too busy being afraid, and you shoot a hormone out that causes your pineal gland to shut down. It won't work. It has a calcification effect. If you get too much calcium in your body, it calcifies your brain. It includes your pineal gland. They also fluoridate our water. I know they use fluoridation in Canada. I just asked somebody the other day about this, and they confirmed what I feared, that Canada uses as much fluoride as we do. It's in all of your water. It is calcium, and it does ruin your pineal gland. It just calcifies it. It makes it.
Mhm.
impossible. That's why people don't sleep well and they have insomnia and they don't know when it's daylight and nighttime, or they go a little weird, why their bodies don't function properly. And I'm going to give you a countdown of how this whole process works, because it's not just your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is a very integral part of your endocrine system.
Okay.
This includes all of your hormones, your pituitary, your hypothalamus, your pineal gland, your ovaries, or your testes. There's a whole bunch of glands in your body that produce hormone that makes your endocrine system work properly. And then inside that endocrine system, it affects things automatically. One is it creates a charge, an electrical charge in your body, and you have nodes all over your body, which are your lymph nodes all over your body, that travel electrical impulses to your nervous system, to your brain, to your heart. The first electrical impulse your body experiences in utero or in vitro, when you're an embryo, is that your heart starts charging up enough, because your heart also has nodes in it that fire off and you become alive at that point. Your heart starts beating and it starts your circulation. Your circulation uses iron in the blood. That's why our blood is red, deep red, because iron is an electrical component and it keeps that charge going for longer periods of time throughout your entire body.
Right.
You are intimated while you are alive, and it takes an electrical charge to do that. Here's an example of how that works. When we die and we're very dead, people in medicine get to work on cadavers. And it's kind of fun to take an electrical device and hit the muscle tissue and looking for the nodes in the muscle, the electrical, your nervous system, and it'll jump the muscle, it'll make the jaw twitch, it'll make the eyes open and close. There's a whole bunch of ways to make the body animated with electricity, even though you're dead. So we all know that our body is run on electrical impulse. The most important part of our body is our brains, because it is the computer that is the control center for this entire thing you call a human body. And your mind is a computer that is programmed from the minute your heart starts beating. You have tissue in your brain that's already electrically charging, and it's starting to bring everything together and wire itself up, and it's becoming alive and human. We think in electricity. Our brain, alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta, is, you can know it because they can see it on charts, electrical charts. They can put a sensor up and they can read those impulses coming from your brain. Everything that is alive, and I mean grasshoppers, slugs, you name it, they all are electrically charged, they're animated, they're alive, they're sentient, and that's how we operate. Let's go to the pineal gland. The pineal gland is important because we are psychic. We have 6 senses, not 5. The 6th sense is literally our consciousness, because we're not dead when we die. We are constantly alive. We are an entity. We are consciousness. We are light. And we have to have some place to be in the 3rd dimension. We can't exist here without some sort of a body to run. We come here for that reason. The pineal gland is the governor, the transmitter, and the receiver for our physical mind to interpret what our consciousness is telling and programming the physical mind to learn and do. And you're supposed to be able to communicate with it. The pineal gland does this. As an endocrine gland in your brain, it sees, like your eyes, light and dark. It has sensors just like your eyes to know when it's light and when it's dark. It also knows when you're asleep and when you're awake. It governs our circadian rhythms and helps our body rest when we need rest, because our physical body must rest, even though our consciousness doesn't, and so on and so forth. So that's why you see people going nuts, not sleeping, having all kinds of problems. It's a breakdown in our bodies, and they bloody well know it. They've been tracking it for years, what's absolutely happening to us, because we're not functioning properly. And it's deliberate on their part. We're nothing but guinea pigs to them, because they want to know everything. They think that they're the alt group, and that whatever it takes to get them intelligent, smart, wise, whatever, they're going to do. The problem with this is this. They're not using their abilities either. They're just using what knowledge they get. You can program a computer all day long, and it can know so much and not be wise, not be mature, not be responsible. It takes empathy. It takes psychic connection, to hear the truth, to hear what's really going on. That's how important your pineal gland is. Now tell me it's not worth it to you to figure out what to do to clean yourself up so you can start operating properly.
Mhm.
Two things will happen to you. A, your psychic ability, the frequency of your mind will shoot up because your consciousness is now operating within you openly and honestly, and you can
Mhm.
hear truth everywhere. You'll hear everything in the universe. I mean, it'll start chatting with you. ET can chat with you. They want us to do that. We're the same as them. We're their children, or vice versa. Take it either way you want to look at it. We're all related. And they're dying for us to wake up. They just are dying for us to wake up. And we have to do it for ourselves. And that's why I talk. That's why I've opened my mouth and come forward and said, okay, somebody got to tell the truth.
So why do you think they are, first of all, what are they doing and why are they doing it then? Now that we know the function and its importance.
They have many people like me, I'm not the only one, who are working in humanity to help people wake up. I tend to be, I don't know why. I can't answer you this. I'm an idiot, I think, because I'm the only one who's not afraid enough to open her mouth.
Mm.
Okay. Literally, we live in a world now where fear is paramount. We live among the mafia. It is mafioso everything. That what I mean by that is they can threaten your life. They can threaten the lives of your family and your loved ones. They can tell you not to do something, merely control you that way. They
Mhm.
can control you any way they want to. They can use pain. They can use fear. They can use anything they want. And they stupidly believe that that's absolute and they can openly do whatever they want. And they're more and more and more bold as we go through this, or we get closer to things going the way they're going to go. That's what they're doing here. ET is trying really hard to broadcast to us.
Mhm.
They don't have to try hard. They're absolutely broadcasting to us. And you are having OBEs at night. When you sleep, your consciousness leaves your body. Why would it stay contained when you're unconscious, when it can flit around and do whatever it wants?
Right.
And it is hearing this. We all know this instinctively, innately. If you ask any Joe on the street, hey, what do you think is
Right.
going on? And they're going to try to tell you because they feel it. They feel it. They somehow know. They just can't articulate it into words because
Right.
language has been denied them to do so.
Mhm.
Intelligent, educated language has been denied them. They've been dumbing us down, and that's the third tactic that
Right.
people here use.
Right. So essentially, yeah, I mean, essentially, um, hmm, essentially, this is just happening. We're being dumped up, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
And apparently, this is okay. And
yeah.
this is down with fluoride. Fluoride's a big one.
It's a big
Calcium
one.
is
Yeah,
a big one.
calcium.
And it's all
Now
in the
they're telling,
water. It's
yeah,
all,
and ask yourself with COVID, why are they telling you to take calcium? Okay, why?
mm,
Calcium is, you got to be really old and your bones got to be absolutely brittle, and they don't really use calcium for that. There's another compound that they can use to help you with that. It's called
mm,
D3, not the calcium, but the actual component that the
right.
sun helps us get, D3. If you took bigger doses of that, you'd be better off, even with COVID.
Hmm.
Um, the toxins in our water are great. Caffeine. Now I'm a caffeine user. I'm hyperactive. I am unbelievably hyperactive. It's my
Hmm.
genetics, and I drink coffee to calm down. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's
See,
better
the
than
other way
alcohol.
around makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm drinking hot
I
coffee.
know.
It
High
doesn't bother me a bit.
energy.
Right. But there are other drugs that we take on a daily basis that we don't know are very, very bad for us. I'll
Yes.
give you for instance. There's a non-dairy creamer. They will remain nameless, but there are a lot of them out there. There's a big one, and then there's the other offshoots. And if you find aluminum, anything in the ingredients list, stop it, because that metal can mess up your pineal gland.
Well,
Also,
it's
it
like
can also
using tinfoil.
dementia.
It's like using Teflon. It's like,
Right.
right, same
Yeah,
ideas.
all of that.
Without
You
naming names, just things like that,
right.
right? So,
There are only two surfaces you should eat off of: iron, iron pots and pans, and stainless steel. Those are the only two you should be using. Anything
Yeah.
else is bad. You use an iron skewer or a stainless steel skewer and cook over a fire. It's the best thing you can do. They tell you that fire is bad for you. It's full of carcinogens. I got news for you. Everything you spray or eat out of the grocery store that's been compounded and processed and all that, that's where the carcinogens live. There's all kinds of carcinogens out there that they've compounded on us in things that we take for headaches, nausea, you name it. You're imbibing things that are just bad for you. Learn how to do it naturally. There's a billion things in nature that you can go in your backyard and make for yourself that are better than what you're taking over the counter. Literally.
Even toothpaste. I use charcoal toothpaste.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Right there. That's just one simple change.
Right.
And it makes your teeth so much nicer. Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into, there's so much we can jump into because I know you and I have talked about, I got to talk about this. And, my God, I've got to get this out. So where do you want to go next? Do you want to talk about, you made mention of Thor, Han, and Valiant Thor.
Yes.
This is a real big exopolitic thing. Right there. Yes. So why don't you just take it whichever direction you want to go in with these, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. Well, in 1957, there's rumors or what do you want to call it? Colloquial mythologies of an entity called Thorhan, who Valiant Thor, who came to Earth and landed on the White House lawn and went into the White House and became a tenant for a period of time, and I think it was 3 years, and that he talked and told everybody all kinds of things. This is not true. The government has a way of creating mythologies to confuse people and to outright push their minds into a certain type of fear, and they've allowed this. And they're not true. There's no proof. There's no FIOAs or FOIAs, And for this, there's nothing. There's no truth to this, whatever. No basis in reality for it. And yet people who are whistleblowers who work for the government will spread this around and make it seem like it's real, and it's not.
Right.
I would like to bring up another challenge here that we're all facing, and it was evident in the last little bit we saw on TV as far as disclosure is concerned. There's a law that gives certain people not to be prosecuted for things that they whistleblower bring forward. And it's 3 agencies. There are only 3 agencies that are part of this, and they're all some of the most sensitive agencies there are. And the government, to give those promises, you have to ask yourself, why? Why? I will tell you that it has been my experience watching it live and in person throughout my lifetime, where they will say, okay, you go out and you say this, and we promise not to prosecute you or do anything wrong. This is a cooperative effort on our part to put forth a narrative that we want. We want to misdirect them this way, so you go that way. And there's a lot of that going on right now, openly going on.
Right.
This is why you will never get disclosure from the governments on this planet. They are going to just smoke and mirror you to the bitter end. Valiant Thor does not exist. This person, this construct, is part of that regime. Then there's another Thor out there that I'm hearing, and it's spreading throughout the populace. I mean, lots of people. It's amazing to me how many people believe this is absolutely true, that there is an ET who is in a high position, like a general, and his name is Valiant Thor. Nope. This person does not exist anywhere. It is a construct. It is a science fiction dream of someplace, someone, somewhere, or maybe it's just gained momentum. I don't know. I know that if you gossip about something, it turns into something else very rapidly. And I think this is becoming a grassroots mythological thing that people actually believe because they don't have the scientific information on them to call no.
Right.
No, if you're not educated and you hear something like this person is saying, or all of these people, or they're spreading these things, you'll believe it because you don't have the foundation to know that this is absolutely ridiculous, preposterous, can't happen. And I'm hearing a lot. People are actually coming to me now and asking me, do you know who Valiant Thor is? I'm being bombarded. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not real. Please think about this. Seriously, think about this. When in any archaeological dig or find, does anybody see anything where ET point blank says or leaves information that they are a federation? This is our terminology for how we use our governments, or governments use us. There's no
Right.
federated anything. There's no galactic federation. There are no evil, violent ETs. If you can move through
Really?
dimensional space and you have millions of years in it, ahead of somebody, you can guarantee two things. One, they're morally responsible. They have no harm on them. Why would they? And they're not here to tear us apart. They've had ample opportunity. And nowhere in our history, recorded all the way back in time, does it show ETs killing people. Nowhere. Okay. But we talk about it like it's real, and it's not. It bothers me a lot.
I think you can go just through because I've interviewed people and I've communicated with people who, and maybe they're more the terrestrial ETs. Everybody makes assumptions that ETs are always from other galaxies or other star systems, et cetera, when realistically there are many, at one point they were already here, we're not the first round of humans on this planet, right? Like we're probably the third, fourth, fifth.
No, we're way beyond that. We're talking in the hundreds of iterations.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're not the first kick at the can. There have been other people here that have been on this planet. Right. But there's a lot of people who have had bad experiences with, let's say, mantis or even reptilians. And I found reptilians to be interesting because there's so much ancient information. You can just look at petroglyphs. You could just look at
well, they exist. They're real.
Well, the ancients emulated those that they respected. And you have all these temples to reptilians. I know there's a place in Argentina, Peru, that has a statue commemorating reptilian who helped his entire village, go underground because of a disaster that was happening. And they were there for decades.
Right.
And so it's interesting to me when I hear, and especially when you RV, I've seen some not so nice ones, and I'm just going to put it out there. There are some out there that aren't so nice, but it's like people. You have nice people, you have not so nice people.
They're evolving like we are. They are from Earth. They're as old as the dinosaurs. Okay, they belong here.
Okay, I think this is there it is.
Riley's there. Okay,
let's bring that picture up.
And this is their home first.
Yes, exactly.
They are evolving as we are. We are trying to come up out of the muck and the mire like they are and evolve. Okay.
There it is. See, there he is. Yeah. Right. There he is. And so, you see this. South America is littered. Ancient Syria.
They're bloody in the Everglades too. I've seen one. I'll tell you something.
Well, your RV, you see all kinds of them. Bubbles give you these stories.
Yeah. And when I realized it had food on its mind, when you're psychic,
I
was like, and I ran, dove into the glade water, swam from my canoe in sawgrass, which was tearing me up. And I realized afterwards I had a month to think about it before I tried to go back and get my stuff. And I realized two things. One, if it wanted me, it would have had me. It was bigger, probably much faster, and it could have overtaken me at any time. So
how do you say that they don't hurt you? And you're talking about one having food on his mind, and you're on the menu.
It didn't kill me though. We have
maybe
all the time. Even on the there's a hunter. He's about to blow a deer off the planet or a buck, and it turned around and wouldn't move and looked dead at him and walked right up to him and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And the hunter went, "Not killing you today." Because it communicated with him somehow, and it made him realize that I'm not dying today. You're not going to kill me. And this is where psychic communication is so important. Okay. Right. You can harm something if you have no empathy with it. And to have empathy, you must have the ability to feel it, feel what it's thinking, hear it. Okay.
Right.
That's how we develop. And that's the point.
Right.
ETs have wide open psychic ability. They're 100% empathetic. They care about us. They really care about us like parents. And they're not going to treat us any other way except with kid gloves and hoping against all hope, apparently, that we wake up, wise up, and wisdom up and stop the stupidity of our actions. We
Mhm.
created this world. We created these problems that we're all living in. This is the antithesis to our thesis. We're in anarchy, and it is serious, and we have to stop. And they know we have to stop. And if they did it for us, they're not helping us this much. Not at all. We
Mhm.
have to do it for ourselves, and it's work. I'm sorry, it's work.
Right. Right.
And that's what that's all about. You can't hurt something if you have empathy with it, if you can communicate with it, if you understand each other. ETs are like that. They have many,
Mm.
many different ethnicities. They all get along. They don't have governments. They have consensus. They use wisdom as their guide. The most wise of them all give the best information they can, and everybody agrees on it or disagrees. And when they disagree, they stop until there's consensus on anything that they're doing. That's how they operate. They don't need money. What for? They trade, they give, they do whatever it takes. They share. It's amazing. You know, we got mothers out there trying to teach their kids to share with one another. And yet we can't believe that a being that's highly, highly advanced, million years in advance of us, millions, can't see that about us, and we see that about them. We have disproportionate egos, and we amplify our own issues onto them. And when people start talking about them and they start dreaming about what they're saying, what they're doing, that's what's happening. It's called science fiction, and it's not always close to anything that they really are.
Right.
So
So we'll spin off a little bit farther. Let's talk about this. I mean, I hate to say it's a movement because there's a lot of people coming forward who are military or ex-military. They're whistleblowing incognito. They don't want to be known, but they're talking about missions to other planets. They're talking about missions to the moon. We can even throw in Antarctica as we move along, but bases on the moon. Sometimes some of the stories are, no, there's humans working in these bases, sometimes against their will, sometimes willingly. What do you make of all that, the whole exopolitic thing?
I think that's a deliberate construct on somebody's point to make you believe certain things about ET as them being dangerous. When we did the moonshots, you know, the first one in '69 when we landed on the moon, Buzz Aldrin can tell you, and so could Armstrong, that
Right.
in space there are ETs there. They saw them. They watched them operating around them. Aldrin said he felt communication from them. He could hear it in his head. He was impressed by them, completely impressed by them. And our governments lost their stuff. Okay, they're like paranoid already about them, and now they have proof. They also were going for proof of other things, but we'll just stay with this right now. They had a couple more issues to go to the moon, and they pretty much let them know in no uncertain terms, stay off, go home, no more, you're done.
Right.
And they kept it that way.
Right.
I will tell you a couple of reasons why ET is totally concerned about our stupidity when it comes to venturing off this planet. One is that if we send drones or we send, like the rovers and things like that, that's one thing. That's searching for information and doing scientific studies, and they're all for that. Go for it. Yes, learn as much, know all that is knowable before you proceed, period. Okay?
Right.
But when you start thinking in your head that you're going to man and arm, because we have problems here, different factions here want to have their own place, like Antarctica. There was a serious issue about who got what land, where, who, what, where, and why. That is an absolute thing. And they said no armaments there. And sometimes it happened.
Right.
They're thinking about putting nukes in space. They're thinking about putting nukes on the moon. China especially, Russia especially, even us. Let's be honest about this. ET has kept us off the moon until they had to leave. They are no longer here. And the minute that happened, the powers that be on this planet know they left. This is true. And now all of a sudden you see them shooting back to the moon. After all this time, they're going back to the moon. That's proof number one that ET's gone. They're out of the way. And they're going to do what they want to do come hell or high water, because they think they know we have calamities coming and that this is all anything we do now doesn't matter anyway, because it's all going to come to a crescendoing end for everybody. Okay. And so they're going to do what they want to do no matter what. And they're trying to figure out how to survive this calamity, because they have proof that not every iteration on this planet has survived. Only a few have. And they've come back all the way back to the beginning of everything, Stone Age, Flintstones, and they're wondering how that happens and how they can keep all this technology going for the next iteration. That's their aim and their goal. And they think the only ones who should be able to do that are the smartest, the brightest, and the ones who are empirically better than anybody else. It's 1%.
Well, money doesn't necessarily make you better. I think it dumbs you up in a lot of cases.
I agree. But if that's purse strings and you're not going to let you have this technology to do this without me being along, you're in trouble.
It's true. It's true.
So it's Dumb and Dumber, or it's insane. It's delusional thinking. Now here's the thing that I want you to understand. Anything we do in space has to be AI. It has to be outside of the realm of sending a human out into space. We can't take that kind of radiation for any length of time. We know that we've got maybe 9 months outside of this atmosphere, and we break down. Our DNA starts breaking down, and we all go to pieces. Gamma radiation, absolutely, positively, 100%, not 99.999, 100% kills all biological life dead. And it's rapid and it not pretty. We can't go to Mars because Mars is a dead planet. There's no magnetosphere on Mars. It's outgassing, which means it's crumbling in on itself. It blew out its entire surface gone. And the inside of it went rock cold, dead. No magnetism is going on there, none. They say, oh, well, it has volcanoes in there, It's rock crushing rock because it's outgassing. That's a process. It's a death knell for that planet. If you were on that planet 5 minutes, you would be dead, literally dead.
You and I've talked about this so many times. I mean,
there's no people on the moon. When ET uses AI, they don't put their own people out in space like that at all. They travel interdimensionally. They can get to where they're going in less than 2 seconds, and they don't stay in space. They come into a magnetosphere environment to protect themselves from it also. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And those that are traveling in space, it's for a small, minuscule amount of time, and it's just to get from one point to the other. That's it. We don't have that technology yet. We're not even close.
So this space fleet that people are talking about, and these whistleblowers are like, no, I was working, I was on this planet, I was on this space. So essentially you're saying we do not have a space fleet. They must be traveling with ET.
No, not by a long shot. They are not. ET is not facilitating any of that. Not at all. They absolutely are not here right now. The Space Force around the world, the different Space Forces, is because they want to watch each other from space. It's not good enough on the ground. Our satellites aren't good enough. Now they want to go to different points in our solar system and cause havoc on each other also. That's all that's about. Period. Nobody's on Mars. It's physically impossible. ET can't facilitate you on Mars. ET can't take you back and forth to any other planet in our solar system and you exist anywhere near it. It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Venus is a gas place. It's toxic. It'll kill you in seconds. There's no basis that could be there. The caustic acids on that planet would take everything apart in seconds. There's nullifying it. It would not exist. But here we go. If you don't have the scientific knowledge to understand this, it's really hard to tell people, and people will believe the opposite because of it. It's not true. Don't believe it's not true. And I would tell everybody point blank, start getting some science books and start reading, start understanding what electricity is, what gravity is, what, the biology of this planet, the biology of our magnetosphere, and how it protects us, and what the pole changes really are. We're not the only ones changing our poles. Every planet in our solar system is changing, including the sun. It is because we have an electromagnetic current sheet sluicing through our galaxy, which we're in, and it's tearing things apart. It's one of the natural processes of our universe, and but you have to understand it. Humans are afraid to die. You've been made to be afraid to die, to hang on to things and work hard until the end and believe that you can earn something if you do it this way, which is ridiculous. Everybody is autonomous. You have the right to your own mind and your own belief, you don't even need a belief system. If you're psychic, you can hear the universe talking. Okay.
I think it's just, I think it's just been our conditioning from the minute you're the moment you're born, and you go through your conditioning, your schooling, your faith, everything is a conditioning, and it's all the same.
Right.
I mean, technically speaking, and whereas we should be taught to use our abilities, all children are very active with their abilities.
Right.
Some of them never lose it. And some of us go into adulthood and never lose it. And we are very connected to other beings. We're very connected to the universe, the planet, everything. Right. So why do you think that this part of our natural being, our natural self, why has that not been nurtured? I think it should have been nurtured. So why do you think 100%. They would want to dumb us up?
Because there's a control aspect to humanity that has been from the very beginning of this iteration. Control, anger, delusion, ego. These are all serious emotional states of mind that are not okay. And we are pushed to the point of somebody's walking around with a leash, a stick, they use money as a weapon against us, or control aspect. And they get you to do their bidding because they're too mentally lazy to do it for themselves. Everybody should be taking care of themselves. You should heal yourself first. You know this. I know this. Plenty of people on this planet know this. I want to go back to this vibrational thing real quick.
Let's do it.
Okay. I hear people talking about raising their vibration, and I love to hear it, don't get me wrong, but I want them to understand what that actually means. The true terminology of this, the true exact meaning of what you're trying to do is this. Wisdom is knowledge that is worked hard for. It's fraught, and you earn it, you learn it, you wear it like clothing, you use it, and then you employ that wisdom. I can't tell you how to suffer. I can't tell you how to be happy. I can't tell you how to do any of those things. These are all things that you must gain the wisdom to do for yourself. These are the important things, not how many TVs you own or how many cars you have. How to take care of the body that you're living in to its fullest advantage so that you can gain as much wisdom as you possibly can here so you can get out. That's what karma, you talk about karma. We're sent here to learn, and we're not sent by anybody. We send ourselves. We're all together able to do this, and we do. You don't need permission. You came here for a reason, and you chose. Don't be confused while you're here. Don't let anybody tell you you're something you're not. Don't be confused. It isn't about the physical body. It is about what you learn while you're here. I can teach you spiritual things, but you can't learn them from me until you employ them. And that means understanding what it means to center yourself, to be quiet, to listen, to understand that there are many levels of understanding and that you need to employ every one of them to become truly wise. And things like that. I mean, I could go on for months, years, and eons about this. That's why we're here. That's how you raise yourself up out of this situation. That is how you attach to your consciousness that's here to learn what it means to be in this physical world and interact with one another in a physical way. To truly love, to understand all the aspects of love, to truly be good to one another, to help one another, to raise each other up, to give one another that which we would give ourselves. There are masters on this planet who keep trying to tell the truth, and we keep shutting them down or lying about them. This is what I'm talking about. So if you want to raise a vibration, what you're really saying is, I'm going to become wise. Wisdom is the goal. Period. I want to be as wise as I possibly can. I want to understand why I do the things that I do. I want to be able to control myself. I want to understand why that's important and how to do it. People don't have any control over anything. We're habitual, our physical mind is a habitual problem. It only can do what it's conditioned to do. That's a habit. Okay. We have good habits and bad habits. We know this, right? What we got to do is supersede in understanding and wisdom what that really is. And that is self understanding. That's what it is.
I completely agree with you. And I think in all of this conditioning, it's something we should have been taught how to deal with this awareness and how to deal with our abilities. Because I think a lot of us, like for myself, I can only use myself as an example. I can't really speak for anyone else, but I've spoken to a lot of people who've gone through the same thing. And you and I have jammed about this a lot. I've been having experiences, paranormal and contact go hand in hand, and you don't really realize it at first. And I know just from talking to family members and remembering back, to stories within my own, grandparents and great grandparents and my lineage, that, I've been having contact from a very young age. And, now I'm aware of it. And now I'm full on in communication with them. And there's that comfort level that is really difficult, because I want to address this because I know, you're fully aware of all of this as well beyond, like for me, I've just, after you and I jamming about it, and, Amelia and I too, just kind of yitter-yattering a lot a bit. I'm kind of going, damn it, there's aliens in the house. It's like, what the frickin' hell is this about? And it put me on edge, waking up at night with hands on my head. But I'm realizing, okay, we're exchanging information. They're taking what they need. They're giving me what I need, directing me in my research, having like a hand on me when I'm sitting there working. And then all of a sudden you take a picture and full on, there's one right there. I'm just like, okay.
Yes.
Falling asleep with one, knowing they're coming in, like they're still doing that. It took me a while. The point I'm trying to go with all this is it took me a while, even as an adult, to say, and it's my own fault, because I did say telepathically, so anybody who says you have to do, like, I get the C5, anybody who says you have to go to do this big meditation thing, all I did was sit there and say, okay, I think I'm ready. And within a week, this flash is going through the house, and all of a sudden there they are.
The door. That's right. You opened the door. And whether you thought
you were
ready or not, you opened the door.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I asked for it.
Right.
And then I wonder, why am I on edge when I specifically asked for it? And now I'm very comfortable with it.
Right. Yeah, you just sort of swim in it. It's a daily exercise. Well, it's not even that. It's just how you exist. It is glorious. For those who are on this planet right now, who can see beyond what you're looking at every day, who feel it, who hear it, who understand that it is got everything in this mix that isn't going to harm you. It's helping you. That's you just go, you could breathe. You could really honestly breathe. Your confidence becomes more than confidence. It becomes clarity. Okay. That's where that word comes in. Clarity of mind, clarity of thought.
And they're very respectful, because I have different ones that come in, but if I'm tired, I'm like, just let me fall asleep first. I don't want to know about it, and I'm sure they must just facepalm themselves and go, oh, here we go again. She's having one of those nights. But it's just sort of like, okay, whatever. But yeah, they've gone obviously from the other house, because Kat is asking, Paranormal Heart Podcast, does this happen in the current house? Oh, yes. Yes, it does.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So they just follow
All
along.
of the universe, everything that's in this universe is able to communicate you from any point in it. Okay,
Right,
we're all connected. We are all one. That's what that means. They
right,
don't physically have to be here to be with you. There is no time or space between us. Not
mhm,
not from thought.
right.
We live in a space, third dimension, that we do have a timeline. Everything seems slower to us because we, and I've said this a million times, I want you to get this. We're gravity heavy. That means our physical mind is overriding us,
Hmm.
our consciousness, to show our consciousness a second to second to second stage to learn in. In other
Right,
words, it's not super fast. You might be a slow learner, so it's got to be, on a timeline. It gives you time here to be
right,
here, because otherwise, when you're outside of this construct, it's a flash, and you can
right.
know everything. I'm sorry, you can know everything there is in the universe and be
Yes,
completely emotionally and morally stupid because
right.
you're not employing that knowledge. And here is where we do learn to employ that knowledge. Period. That's
Right.
why I'm here. If you're going to ask, why am I here? Why am I here? This is why. You asked for it. You got it.
I got it tenfold. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
So I just want to address some comments because then I have to do a really quick break. I promise, Fun Talks TV, I will have Dolly answer questions from all you listeners. I
Yes.
promise. Okay. Paranormal is normal for me. Yep. These are chase angry spirits. Is out of earth energies, my devices. Yep, I've spent 2 decades working with all sorts of dimensional, interdimensional beings, some good, some not so good. I don't know. The ET ones are actually pretty interesting. They've just kind of blended into that now. Here's a good question before we go to break. How long after you welcome them do they show up? I'm still waiting. Oh, I don't know. I had them like within a week, but then again, they've been coming my whole life. And my mom told me stories and stories of my grandparents and great grandparents. So I think if it's generational, they've always been there. Dolly, I'll let you chime in on that, baby.
Yeah. They are around you now. You don't realize it, but you're being watched now. They know who you are, where you are, and why you are. Um, all you have to do is be still, clear your mind of all the clutter. In other words, don't hear all the noise around you. Don't let all the negative stuff be coming into you. You open your mind. Some people say open your heart. Your consciousness actually lives in your heart. It's a power generator, and it
Mm,
contains your consciousness. Your physical mind is not your consciousness. Your physical mind is that which drives the body from your
right.
consciousness. So open your consciousness
It's
and
kind of
just
like mission control.
think
Yeah.
of one question at a time at
Right.
first. That's all you got to do. And I
Right.
promise you, journal everything you do, because
Right.
sometimes the answers come slowly at first and they come in
Mm,
pieces. You can unpack all kinds of information over time, and they
right.
might download you with something and you're like, wow. Write
Right.
it down, every little bit that you remember, every little thing that means something to you, and then wait a couple of weeks and go back and reread it, and you'll start to see patterns, and you'll start to
Mm,
see wisdom coming through to you, and you'll
right.
start to see that it's directing you to help yourself and to
Right.
learn for yourself. That's what you do.
Right. Right. Exactly. I love it. Okay, it's time to do a quick sponsor and station ID. So, for those of you who are just tuning in, you're tuning into the Outer Realm Radio with myself, Michelle Desrochers. My bubbly little companion, Amelia Pisano, is not here. She's under the weather, so boo. But I am joined by my dear friend and colleague here on the Outer Realm, or not on the Outer Realm, on United Public Radio Network. So we'll put that up shortly as well. But you are, again, tuning into the Outer Realm. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who, again, have been part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you. Thank you, Folgers. Thank you, Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker, the sonic surgeon, for his contribution of time, music, and his voice for the intro and outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite audio platforms. Also, big thank you, Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. We appreciate you so very much. And again, please tune in. We are on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. So I have to do this part. I mean, I know, because I'll producer, just so anyway. So we've played ours. There's a lot of shows, including The Outer Realm, which have been nominated for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And we played ours at the beginning of the show. And we're going to play a couple more. And then we'll play one at the end. So it's a lot of fun. You get to go out and just nominate, your favorite people. And then it's voting time. So we are there. So right now we're going to start off with this one.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now.
Hey there. It's time for you. Hey there.
I think. I don't know what it wants to do. Maybe it doesn't.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
There.
Cool. Yeah.
I know. That's the worst part of things. I know. So this is where you guys could find Dolly and Preston on Monday nights right here on the United Public Radio Network, 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Oh, no, it's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I have it right, but I'm just a little bit tongue-tied tonight. It's been a long day. Anyway, the Light Gate, check them out. I know you've got a lot of your people in here, and we have a lot of our people. We have like roughly close to 3 million live listeners a night. And we're so fortunate, and we like to share it up. Preston's been on many times. Dolly's been on many times, and they'll be on again. I think Preston is on in August or September. And he was on a couple weeks ago. So you guys want more Preston and Dolly? That's where you're going to find it. There we go. So here we go. Everybody just chiming in. So you have pictures for us and such.
Yeah,
Do you want to?
I wanted to show off a few things.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Preston, start at the last of the pictures I sent you. Let's go from the back to the front. These are pictures of Pisano. I'm trying to describe his craft, who he is, what he is, and I want you to see some things. The first picture I think he's going to put up is one of the. This is the actual Turkish UFO. Okay, I want you to look at this. This is a really good shot of it. I want you to see how he's shaped. That's the outline at the top of him. That's his, all his light arrays and all his visuals are up front. He has on the ends are little hooks like this, big ones, and there's a platform behind him and above them where he can drop drones. This light right here, the one on the right side, the big bubble that you're looking at, that is the helm of the craft, and you can see AI in the helm and who's piloting it. This is how he flies. Now, in the dark underneath them, you can see that there's more to him than just that streak across them. When he's all lit up and you can see all of him, he kind of does this, okay? And he's got batteries under there, different levels, all kinds of stuff. He is a larger craft. He is much larger. He is more than 270 feet in diameter.
That's a good size.
Yes, he's a very big craft, and he carries can carry many different kinds of loads. And that is the Turkish craft. This is also who Talata is. This is Talata. I'm going to go ahead and make that announcement. That is who he is. He is the Turkish craft. Now you're going to ask yourself, how do I know this? Preston, show us the next. Okay, this is one where Talata's dropping drones. Okay, you can see the big light. This is a craft that's flipped around the other way. In other words, he's backwards, like you see him from both sides. This is so this way, and on the end of him, he's dropping drones. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 drones dropping down. And I slowed the film down so that you could see each drone coming out of him. Okay, they drop them in a light array, and you can see what that is in the next one. Oh, here's one. This is Talata, and these are all photographs of Talata over Laughlin, Nevada, in 2021. And you can see the big light right there. That's the end of him. There's this side on the left is where the drones would be coming down, and just behind the big light, you see a little bit of light behind him. That's the cockpit lit up with the big front lights on. Okay, keep going. He's working on it.
I know, he's a champ.
Good at it. I don't know how he's doing it yet. I haven't learned to do this. That's why we put him on the board.
I know. Well, while he's looking, why is Talata called the Turkish craft?
Because he is. Okay, this is Talata, and this is when the first part of the light array. And you can see 2 drones that come out 2 at a time, lightning fast, and they drop down, down, down in a light array. There's 1, 2 drones right there. There's a field between them to keep them apart while they come out. Okay, keep going. That's him again from a distance. A lot of people talk about seeing this configuration of light. You know, they see the big light with the little tail. That would be a craft that's like Talata. There's many of them like him. He's not the only one. Okay, keep going. Okay, this is in the cockpit of the Turkish craft. This is a very, very serious blow up of it. I've known about this because I was on board all the years that the Turkish craft was being filmed. I am the pilot. We've been tearing the internet up looking for usable shots from the cockpit that we could blow up and have definition to them. And we finally got a couple. There's 2 that I will not show you, but this one, you could see the ET in the window, and to his right, sitting behind him, I'm about 3 feet behind, 3 or 4 feet. He's leaning back because he hears me talking to him. He's listening to me. And you can see the top of my head. I have very red hair when I was younger, and I wear a black jumpsuit. And you can see my head, my ear, and my neck in my jumpsuit. That is me back there. I am a humanoid hybrid, and I fly. And that is in the cockpit. That is me. I'm finally going to be honest about it and come out and tell you this. This is the truth. That particular AI right there is pretty cool. He's one of many, but you can see the gist of his face, his little bit of a nose and everything, and the size of his head and his neck. This right here is just sort of a distortion because we're in dimensional flux. This is what Talata looks full on. This cockpit is the central cockpit in the middle, and then there's another one up front. It just depends on the way he's turned, okay? He looks like a boomerang, and when you see him full on. If you see him in profile, he humps up and he goes down. But you can see the 2 hooks of him. Go back, Preston, show him again. See the hooks, 1 on each side. You can barely see them, but they're there. These are, people say they see them flying in tandem in arrays, and they don't know how they stay so perfectly apart from one another. It's because they grapple each other. They hook on, and they can fly like that, and they can fly in force like that. There can be 20 of them all hooked up together flying, and they can make a big circle and make you think there's a giant one in front of you. They can do all kinds of things with them, but they mostly use those to transport things, drop drones, receive drones, things like that. And in the cockpit in the middle, there's the two AI standing there, and you can't see me really good in that shot because it's so dark, but I'm in there. I'm on the right side, sitting in the far back.
Okay, it's great. Yeah, great shot. We got questions coming in, so we just keep going and we'll get to everything.
Okay. And I think that's about all of them that I sent. So I didn't send any film this time. It's more important for you to make the association that is Colada. He was spotted in Las Vegas when I flew there to go to that MegaCon. He was on the news even. They reported it. And that's because he followed me from Florida. I was traveling from Florida at that point all the way to Las Vegas, and then I had to ride in a car, and he followed me in the car, and they spotted him. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, great shot. Kat has a question, Dolly. Why do you suppose we don't hear of this in the media?
Because they don't want you to know the truth, period. And I can guarantee you the only thing that you're hearing in the media is what the governments want you to hear. That's it. They will not tell you anything. And they got excuses, oh my God, as long as they're armed.
Okay. Andy says, why won't she show us the other two? I don't get it. There we go.
I don't know. I got issues with being followed by the CIA, the NSA, and the CIA. I mean,
and she does. Yeah.
I don't want to push it. Okay. I'm pushing it right now. This second. You're hearing stuff from me that I have not spoken of, and I don't want to go there. That's why.
Right. Okay. Dave says, she said 2022, but it says 2008. Am I reading the date wrong?
The 2008 is the Turkish film footage. Okay. The ones that I say are from Laughlin, and then the others, most of them are from 2008. We showed up in 2007, 2008, 2009, and once in 2010. We did it over and over and over again on purpose because they've been trying to get disclosure to everybody via or not using governments. They've tried to debunk it. They can't. They've had experts out there filming this. They know it's real, and it is real. So.
Okay, so you guys want to start getting your questions ready. Feel free, start firing them off. We're going to start addressing them. Yeah. Okay, can you tell us about colors, shield, anti-gravity?
Okay, let me look at that. Can you tell us about the colors, shields, and anti-gravity? The craft is not made in this dimension. They are constructed in the fifth dimension by fifth dimensional beings. They are non-corporeal. They don't have bodies like we do. They're just consciousness that is able to do anything it wants. And the ships are biological, like the AIs. They have an actual physiological functioning to them. So the entities in the fifth dimension can indwell them, like we indwell our bodies, to make them run. They don't stay in this dimension for very long. They only go in and out. And it's like a taxi service, literally, for everybody in the universe to use to get to where they want to go. And the only people that they let go anywhere are advanced enough to know what they're doing and be involved in their discovery and learning of the universe.
Okay, so and there we have it.
Wait a minute, the colors. Okay, the colors. Funny thing, when you're running an engine that gets very, very, very hot, it will burn up chemicals and substances around it in different colors. And I'll give you, for instance, you have neon signs. A neon sign is in a system that heats up an element to produce phosphine gas, okay? And it's sort of like a plasma. It's a plasma gas. And whatever element you're burning, it turns that color. Talada often looks orange because he's so hot. He's coming in and he's burning whatever's up in our atmosphere coming in, and he turns literally orange. I've seen him different colors. Sometimes he comes in like bright white hot light. Sometimes he looks blue. Sometimes he looks gray. It just depends on what's in the atmosphere and how that plasma is burning around him because he's that hot. A lot of times they'll come in and go straight for the water to cool off. They'll just drop into the oceans or lakes or whatever, and they'll cool off because plasma is more than 7,000 degrees, and it can hurt anything that's near it, including you and me. So that's why the colors. They have certain lights that they use. To a lot of skin, the skin on the craft outside and inside is like a cuttlefish. They're pinpoint lights that are raised that can do anything according to his consciousness. He can just turn them whatever color he wants, and he can do anything a cuttlefish can do. He can look like a sky and clouds. He can look like trees in a forest. He can look like a whale. I mean, he can do almost anything, and that's what they do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Next. Chris says, I suspect these ETs are actually demons who have been working for the downfall of humans since God created us. Am I wrong?
Yep. You're wrong.
This is where I think that the lines cross, where some people, ufologists will say, no, these are reptilians, these are draconians, these are mantis, these are, whereas I think people of faith will say, no, this is demonic. Are they very different, or are they just misunderstood or misread?
Everybody has a choice. I'm going to go there, okay? Everybody has a choice. Your consciousness can act out any way it wills.
Right.
In the third dimension, oh boy, can it, but it only does it in certain places. Our Earth and our dimension and our magnetosphere, you're sort of locked in here. And if you develop a very negative attitude or a negative belief system, or you start doing wrong things because you think that's something fun that you want to experience and do, oh boy, will you do it without a body. When you pass away and you're that evil, you're going to be wandering around a while, that evil. It can build on itself. Your consciousness can lose consciousness when it's doing that, and then it amplifies itself into very negative forces. That's what that is. I've seen people with no empathy on this planet who are born with inability to think about anything but itself. It's in pain, it's in misery. They walk in the earth and they'll stab at you emotionally, they'll stab at you physically, they will do horrible, terrible things to you. And when they do physically die, what are they going to do with themselves? They're still around and they can walk upon this earth with you almost in this dimension. They're slightly out of it, and they're not happy. And that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with entities like you and me who've gone the wrong way. That's what that is.
Right. Literally. Right. Okay, guys, I just want to make a comment here. We have a lot of comments coming in. Now, you're on one platform, so you're not seeing all the other questions. We actually have 8 different chat rooms right now. Actually 7, because Roku doesn't have one. Yeah. So, try to picture superhighway coming down to one lane. No one is being ignored. We just have to go in order off of all the different platforms. We've got Facebook, we have other YouTubes as well, and we've got 3 Facebooks, another 4 YouTube. So please just be patient, and thank you. So, okay, next, can you tell us anything about inner Earth, an inner Earth being?
No.
Or mantis, he says. Pick one. So, okay.
Okay. All right.
I like you, Dave.
Our Earth is a very, very, very real physical thing. It's in the third dimension, and it's just like any other planet like it in any other solar system. It's a rock. It's a big rock, and it has all kinds of things going on. It is not hollow. There is no inner Earth. Now, there are some caves that are pretty bloody deep, okay? Right. And they can go almost a mile down, but that is not inner Earth. Inner Earth, the way you're talking about, is like, no, you would die. You couldn't take the pressure. As you go down in the Earth is pushing in on itself, and it's heated up, and the gravity is just pushing and pushing and pushing. Your physical body, the physical body of any living thing on this planet, cannot take that pressure. It will kill you. It'll burn you up. And
what do you make of these places like cavers who have gone cave diving and come across entire other ecosystems within the planet?
It is, okay, the ones they're talking about, and I'm lucky that I know about this, are open systems that do get sunlight periodically or on a limited basis. Light can grow almost anywhere. You only need a little bit of light. And there are ones in Russia that are deep, like a mile down, okay, but they still have running water in them. They still get light, and they have air. This is not an enclosed system like they're trying to describe to you. It's like they're not giving you the full picture. They're not telling you the whole story. They want you to believe their narrative, not the reality of it.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay, so still working our way down. Okay. Fun talks. Okay. So I'm not saying they aren't real because I'm certain Dolly is telling the truth, even seeing how she recognizes the small details. But will there ever be more compelling evidence?
That is up to you. The evidence is out there. It's running around you right now. I can't tell you everything. You have to figure this out for yourself. You have to educate yourself. I'm telling you point blank, this is ET's message. Learn all that is learnable and then proceed. You can't sit in an armchair and expect to be fed everything. It doesn't work
Right.
that way. You have a
Right.
limited time to be here to educate yourself. You must learn for yourself. The answers are there. Find them. Educate yourself.
Mhm.
Learn what science is. Learn what medicine is. Learn what geology is. The things that you don't need to be learning is how to play those terrible games that they got out there. You don't need to learn every day to sit in front of that bloody TV listening to political smoke and mirrors and la la la. It's like wrestling, you know. It's a soap opera. Stop,
Right.
turn it off. Go out and paint. Understand what it means to be an artist. Oh my God, you could learn
So
so much.
embrace your artistic side. Your right side of the brain.
Right,
Embrace that a little bit more than the
that's right.
left. Right. Left, no, right. I know. Oh, God Almighty. Okay, so next, Dolly, when you were on board, how are you protected by the heat and the detrimental emissions? Good question.
Okay. We're in an enclosed environment. We have two forces around us, an inner force and an outer force. And a lot of the ships, all the crafts have the ability to breathe and exhale like we do, like our bodies do. It gains its oxygen for us by a means that is artificial. You can make oxygen here artificially. People don't have to have a big oxygen bottle. There's a machine that actually concentrates the oxygen, so it's brought in. They have processes that are like that or more advanced. I am protected because they build into the system inside the craft what you would understand as a Faraday cage. In the drawings that I did, you see two round spots in front of my seat. Those are grounding pads. They protect me from becoming electrocuted, which would kill me.
Right.
So I take on heavy amounts of electricity, but I also take on heavy amounts of radiation, and I'm not immune to it. And I do exude certain levels of radiation from time to time. I've lit up myself a couple times in bowling alley. The black lights. I lit up like a Christmas tree once, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I couldn't hang out. It was like, no, people were staring at me like, "What the hell?" And it's because of the type of radiation that I take on. I've had some physical problems because of that.
I was going to ask you, have you had
Yeah.
health problems because of that?
Yes,
Okay.
and I've had to deal with it. I've lived with it. It's my choice. I decided to take this on. ETs are not immune to this either. The grades are bald because of it. It's like electrolysis on me. I have almost no body hair. This hair is hanging on by a thread because I'm electrolyzed all the time on board, and
Right.
it's falling out on its own. Look at my head. I don't have any eyebrows on it. I do physically become somewhat irritated and damaged, and it messes with my DNA as well. It's my choice, though. They
Right.
have ways of helping me overcome it when I'm with them, and I do. Right now,
It's an amazing thing that comes with a high price, is what you're
yes,
pretty
it is.
much saying.
Exactly. My
Yeah.
life is no bed of roses. Trust me, it is
Right.
not.
Right.
I deal with all kinds of stuff because of it. Yes.
Right. Right. Oh, that's why I love you, darling. So, to clear your pineal gland is to avoid fluoride and aluminum. Is there anything else?
Yes.
Hi, Kathy.
Don't just drink purified water. Spring water is best. I call it living water. This is water that is constantly inoculated with oxygen and nitrogen and all the healthy
Right
elements.
from the earth. Yeah.
Okay. Drink healthy living water, and there are ways to achieve that. Look it
What
up.
about
Figure it
alkaline
out.
water? Do you
Alkaline water
recommend
is wonderful
alkaline
for you.
water?
A little bit higher pH is good for us. We
Yeah.
should be drinking it. It's very healthy. It helps our immune systems greatly. It
Right.
can destroy bacteria. Okay.
Right.
The food that you eat should not be sprayed with chemicals. It should not be GMO, genetically altered in any way.
Yeah.
That which we have on this planet to eat and drink and use should be healthy and clean and devoid of all toxins. All of it. Look at what we've done. Almost every river and stream on the planet is polluted. Our oceans are polluted. They're more worried about the weather than they are about the pollution that nullifies my brain. They're spraying stuff into our atmosphere that you breathe. This is not good. And waking up means standing up for yourself about what you expect or what you intend for us to be healthy. And the government's going to get away with what it wants to. I mean, look at poor Michigan. Look what just happened, 3 or 4 months ago. And these people are still going to be, messed up because of this. And it's happening all over the U.S. and around the world. It's serious.
It amazes me that people are trying so hard and spending colossal amounts of money trying to get off this planet when all they have to do is take care of the one they have.
That's exactly right. We need to be self-sustaining, literally self-sustaining. That means every home should have its own garden. You should be able to grow your own food. And yet there are states that take that right away from you. There are farms that can't operate the way they should.
Wow.
Tell them how to operate and what to spray on their fields, blah, 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 blah. And now they're buying them up like wholesale. And now they don't have the right nutrients to put in the soil that's heavily depleted because, Ukraine supplies the world with the correct elements to put into the ground to have a good crop. Do you not know this? This is insane to me. Not knowing what's really going on is a big thing. So what I would do if I was everybody, okay, if you want to clean yourself up and you want to do all this, put a filter on your water system. If you have city water, filter it, big time filter it. Then you take it out of, you put water in jugs and jars, glass jars. You set them in a place to let them sit for a few days and keep them aerated if you can. Use a pump on a fish tank, clean one, brand new, no fish in it, and aerate your water. Make it happy because water holds, here we go, vibration.
Frequency.
Frequency is good or bad. It's positive or negative.
Just freeze it and see what it does.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So clean your water up. Stop eating processed foods. If it's in a can, a box, things like that, read the ingredients. If the first ingredients start with sugar or some chemical, do not put it in your mouth ever.
Right.
All natural things. Clean your house up. Throw away things that are toxic to you. In your environment, you have things that you've bought or you use that are absolutely toxic. Throw them away. Natural fibers are good for you. If you got carpets and they're nylon and bandlon and all this other kind of stuff, rip them out. Put down a real wood floor. Okay, I promise you, you'll do much better doing that to yourself. Carpets innately have 10,000 chemicals in them that you're breathing every day.
It's true. Tear them out.
There's just a million ways. Start reading books. Get books that
live a natural life, people. Live a natural life and try to spend as much time as possible in nature. That's where you will be able to connect with the planet. It's amazing grounding. It's called earthing. You can, be everything speaks. Everything has a vibration. Everything speaks.
They've now proven that grass has a brain. That grass can hear you, see you, and understand everything you say. Every plant on everything is sentient. If it's biological,
they've recorded plants screaming when you take a leaf off of it, even if it's a bad one.
They'll bloody answer you. I'm not kidding you.
I know, exactly.
And people say, "Oh, well, we just need to be only vegetarian." I want to talk about this. Okay, this is
okay.
This is what I was taught. Your body functions a certain way. You have certain teeth in your mouth that tell you what you should be eating. If you have canines, you should be eating meat. We are meat eaters. We are also vegetable eaters, but we are primarily protein imbibers. Everything that comes here to live knows that it's either going to be eaten or a predator. Okay, and predator is not a bad word. It just means somebody who uses life to sustain their life. And every life has its purpose. You eat vegetables, you're eating something that thinks. Okay? You eat meat, you're eating something that thinks. How you glean that to you is very important. And even the Celtics knew this. they had rituals for this. They had ways of understanding the energy transference of it to your body and to your consciousness and everything. Everything eats. Everything eats. Please don't worry about it, except that be merciful in all of your ways. In other words, be positive. If you're going to take an animal's life, take it respectfully and think it. When you put
Think it,
out,
what you're going to do. Sometimes, and experiments have been done with this. Even a glass of water. If you put a glass of water on the counter and you label it love, and you
Right.
label it with little messages, it
that
actually,
will help
that
you.
vibration and intention makes a difference.
Our electrical systems, our endocrine systems cannot function without water. We are 87 point something percent water.
Right.
We
right.
vibrate. Our bodies vibrate like the earth vibrates. We can
Right.
either vibrate in a positive way and be healthy,
Right.
or in a negative way and not be healthy. This is
Yes.
all connected, literally scientific stuff that you
Mm.
should know about yourself and how you are. If
Right.
you're going to watch evil all day long, trust me, you're not going to be okay. Not at
No.
all.
Right.
But
So
if
why do you think, this planet is on loan to us. That's how I look at it. It is
Yeah.
on loan
I can see
to
that.
us. We're the next generation. We're here. We're not really taking that great a care of it.
No.
Why? We have, many of us have this amazing connection to other beings here. Whether it is, whether it's the planet, everything that grows on it, everything that inhabits it, or whether it is interdimensional beings, dimensional beings, whether it's ET that's already been here, resided here. Why is nobody stepping up? This is a question that gets asked a lot. Why are they not stepping up to say, okay, children, nobody's getting along in the sandbox, nobody's taking care of the fort, we're just going to give you a slap on the hand, fix this up, and bye-bye.
Okay. Well, and it kind of, all right, I am speaking up. I am stepping forward. I'm sticking my proverbial derriere up in the
That's
Okay.
why I'm asking.
Okay. I'm not the only one. And what happens is that once we put this forward from our minds out into the ethernet of our existence here, other people are hearing me talk. And when one thought gets started, it gains momentum and it goes from here to here to here to here to here. You're either
Right.
receptively ready to hear it and use it to
Right.
to all of our advantage, or you're not. You're a dead pole. Okay. Everybody, that's what it means by wake up. We can work together to fix this. We cannot work alone. And that's the message. And that's ET's message. They can't help us until we accept the challenge. Period.
But
Okay.
that's what's really interesting is I think people are listening because I do a lot of energy work, with other people. Planetary energy work. And I find that after a while, they tell you what they want to see done.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're very verbal about that.
I get sent
verbal.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get sent places, or
Yeah.
and I was like, all right.
If you're listening and you're hearing it, you go, oh, I'll give you an example of this. We have native peoples all over this planet, okay? Some of them are incredibly related to one another and don't even realize it because they've been cut off. I'll give you prime example A, because I have both ethnicities in my genetics. I am Sami, Swedish, Nordic, Finn, Russian, all of that. I am a native Sami, okay, Sammi, okay. That is the same thing as a Cherokee, as Native Americans. They all come from the same origins. We're all native peoples. They're native peoples in the Amazon. They're native peoples in Africa. They're native peoples all over this planet. And they all have the same story, the same songs, and the same messages. We are one of the people. Number one of the people. If you're not one of the people, okay, do not overuse everything. They give you guidelines. They tell you point blank, they've been signaled out as savages. They're not savages. We are. And that, okay?
Yeah.
That's the first message that we've all been getting for quite a long time. Eons all the way back. The Celts, everybody, okay?
Yes.
So that's the first platform right there. Then there are the people who are spiritual. ETs are spiritual, but not in a religious way. They're
Right.
spiritual in that we are spirit, okay? And there is one mind. They call it the all mind, like God, okay? And they know what it is, they know why it is, and they know how it operates. It's scientifically, they can explain it. They can put it on paper and show it to you. And you go, oh, wow, look at that. They're trying to teach us that. And Native peoples teach that too. They believe, they get downloads. People talk about having guides. These are all calls from the universe itself to you, trying to get you to understand that you are not alone. We're all together in this soup. We all need to be helping one another. And if you take first order, take care of where you live. That's the planet. Take care of who you are. That is you. And then take care of everybody else while you're working it within your purview, from person to person to person to person. That's what it means to join hands. That's how it operates. The universe works this way. We all
Pay it
come
forward.
here. Okay, that's right. We help
Yeah, pay it
do what is
forward.
right for one another because
Yeah.
we need each other. You take care of the animals on this planet. We should be good stewards of everything, including the animals.
I agree. No, I agree with you 100%. I think that the prime directive, so to speak, for many of these organizations, like the Templars and like the Masons and so on, is leave the world a better place than how you found it.
Exactly.
Preferably because you were part of it. Do you know, I have lived by that motto long before I even knew it was a motto. And I believe it. I believe it. I've had so many people through the decades say, you do all of this work and like for nothing, like, we want to do something in return. Like we want to give you something. Like, no, just pay it forward to somebody else. I don't care if you smile at somebody. I don't care if you want to go and donate to your favorite charity or donate your time or just help somebody else. And it's been so impressive to see some of the people that I've helped, because when we help people, and like I've done this for a long time, like decades, it's not just like, oh, wait a minute, it's just one shot. It could take months. I've seen sometimes, some specific instances, it's taken years.
Right.
And you really have to want and love to help people.
Right. Yeah.
And it's interesting, they've gone on to do it for others.
Right. It becomes it's a habit that's good, It's a spiritual habit. It's a physical habit. It's a mental habit. You want to know why you're depressed? Because you're sitting there in a box doing nothing. That causes you to get depressed real fast. And when you keep looking at stupid stuff that's blocking you from doing something, then you get really depressed.
But that's this. This is technology. This is what keeps us like this. Non-freaking stop.
I know.
So we're not getting out and living, right?
That's right.
We're losing our connection to Gaia.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
And we're not listening to anything else that's coming in. I'll tell you something. Once you're aware, I've always been able to hear dead people, things like that. But once you're aware that you have other beings trying to communicate with you, and you start looking at the synchronicity. Synchronicity is big for me. I don't believe in coincidence, but I really watch synchronicities, and I really pay attention to those little things that they're giving you. So even, again, where I'm going with it is, if you're not telepathically inclined, just watch the synchronicities. They'll find a way.
They'll talk to you. They'll tell you. They'll show you the way. You're the leader of the band. Follow him. It's your band. Follow him. One of the things that happened to me in my life is I did have an NDE. I did pass very young. And one of the things that they told me on the other side was, and I found this very interesting because it's impactful. I would always have something to do with animals my whole life. I was always going to be doing a lot of things, but that's the one thing I had to pay attention to. That's my karma in this life.
Right.
There isn't a place that I've lived, anywhere that I've gone, that hasn't had animals showing up in my life out of nowhere. Okay.
Right.
It's like, oh my God. And I warn people who are with me in life, this is going to happen. And it does. And I used to wonder all the time, why is this happening? And it's my keeping it real.
Snow White.
It keeps me grounded. Honest to God.
It's true. Animals do that.
And that's what my karma is in this life. I have to remember to keep my feet on the ground, and I do. and it won't let me stop. And that's
Right.
one of the things. And I learned to just accept it. This is what I'm here to do. This is my
Right.
path, and it's part of my life, and I live with it. And I
Right.
found that there is absolute joy in that, absolute joy, and that's what we need to be finding. Each one of us has joy to be had, and we just have
Right.
to let it come
Right.
into our life and intend for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess one of the biggest, for me, messages, which I really want to, I would like you to put across, is because there's oh, God, it's media, it's everything that makes us fearful. It's the false flag. It's all of that. And you should fear it. It's not all scary. There's so
Um,
much information out there saying, fairy teas, in reduction, they're terrible. This is what's going on. So there's a lot out there that's basically the pretty horrific stories. And of
I
course,
want to tell you something. My father
some
taught
really
me that.
great stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father was a very wise man, and I loved him very much, and I thank the universe for him. Okay. And one of the
Yeah.
things he brought me up to realize is this: that there are all kinds of challenges in everybody's life. And one of the biggest that you have is your ability to hear what's real and what's not, meaning truth.
Right.
Okay. And you can't do that if you can't hear yourself think, because your consciousness already knows. It's your informant. It is who you are. And
Right.
so he taught me that I needed to learn to meditate. I needed
Right.
to learn to protect myself from all the influence. Okay. And it's funny because out in the Glades, we had a huge Hare Krishna commune out there. He didn't know it until I found him. I was trying to learn how to meditate. I was really trying really hard to read books on transcendental meditation and everything. I was a little kid, and I'm looking at these walls to this place, and I'm thinking, what's on the other side of those walls? And I'm a climber, and I can jump high, and I went over them and landed right in the middle of them. And they were startled. They looked at me like, "Where are you from?" When they heard that my quest was, they started to teach me. I was very glad to have found them. I'm not the only idiot on this planet that can do this. It doesn't mean you got to go find something, but you have to find a way to learn how to do this, and you can. Everybody
Right.
can do this. Meditate, center yourself, learn to hear yourself, talk to yourself.
Right.
People say, "Oh, you're schizophrenic." No, not everybody has that problem. You can hear your own consciousness talk to you. It's that in religion, it's that still small voice that has a way of telling you. It's your
Right.
gut that says this is not right. It's your intuition that says, "Oh, we're not going there today." Learn to
Right.
talk to it more. Hear it what it says through meditation, through being able to
Yep.
focus
Right.
without the interruptions. That's where you need to go. It heals you very rapidly when you do go there and do that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Hint, alpha brainwaves. Alpha is where you connect to your consciousness. When you're in this state of alpha, that's when you
Right.
connect. There are little things that you can go buy, Radio Shack, whatever, that can show you when your brain is in alpha. Find them, use them, do whatever it takes. These are
Right.
cute little things that you can do to get there. There's just a million ways. Read books on meditation. Go to meditation classes. Go find
Yes.
a guru who knows how to do this.
Evolve, people. It's about evolving, and you do that by becoming aware.
Right, exactly.
Awareness equals your evolution. Remember that you are, basically spirits. You are essence having a human experience,
Right. Absolutely.
and it's the
The
human
short
part of
one.
you that,
Yeah.
yes, that takes everything
Don't
else
waste it.
away.
Don't waste it.
No, exactly. Enjoy the ride. It's a rough one. It's going to be a little bit rougher, but it's,
That's how we learn.
we all chose to come here at this specific time together,
Right? Exactly.
and I think it's because we were tough enough to do it.
Exactly. You are. Absolutely. You're not here for no good reason. You are here for a reason. And it's to
Yes.
enjoy this. You came to watch. You came to be part of it.
I know. Careful what you wish for. Here you are. So,
Yep.
and with that being said, we're already at the top of the hour here at almost like 11. So why don't you tell everybody what you have coming up? Tell people about the light gate, yada yada, and then we're going to go from there.
Okay. Well, the light gate is every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific time. And we have different guests every week. We have a few coming up that I'm really excited about. One of them is Barbara Lamb. It's not the next one, but it's coming up, and I can't wait. She agreed to come on with us, and I'm excited, excited, excited. I love Barbara. She's a very smart lady, good researcher, and has really, really good data. And so it's every week we endeavor to teach, to learn, and experience all together the paranormal, to understand the experience of being alive and ETs and all that. I'm also on YouTube, and I have stuff up there, and every now and then I'll put something up to hopefully explain things to people. I also work with Preston, who has his own YouTube, and I get to listen to him work at it or type it out. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
incredible. The boy works all the time. I'm
Right.
also on Facebook and Messenger. And if you want to talk to me, I can vet you this way. I have a lot of people coming at me. And if I just add you to my friends list without knowing you, it doesn't work out for me sometimes. So I let you put a message to me and I'll answer you. I
There
do
we
answer
go.
questions. And that's where we are.
There we go. And the show is doing exceptionally well. And I'm so glad you guys are a part of our UPRN family.
Too. We love you guys. Joe
Yes.
is a great person,
Yeah,
and we
I
enjoy.
love it. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
So, guys, we are basically at the end of the show already. It just like flew by. So basically, thank you, Dolly. It's always such a pleasure having you on, and I know you'll be on again. It's just always a delight. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee, who do sponsor the show, not just tonight, but every night. And they have been since the beginning, and they are still forging ahead with us for another year. So thank you, Folgers. We
Thank
love
you,
and appreciate
Folgers.
you. Yes. Woo, so much. Big thank you to Justice Snicker, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, for his sponsorship of his voice and his music for the intro and the outro. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our banners here at the show. One more podcast awards, guys. Check it out, podcastawards.com. Here's the last one for the night. So check them out.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now.
So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Check us out tomorrow night, where we bring on our dear friends and colleagues again, hosts of Nocturnal Frequency Radio, Steve Genier and Alex Rondini. Prepare for a lot of shenanigans, just saying, and big paranormal discussions. It's always a great time when the guys join us. So, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Right.